I play a scientist on TV, and I'm a scientist in real life. So I'm sure you can imagine there have been, many people who have said to me, let's put your face on a book about science for girls. And that notion didn't really feel, authentic to kind of who I am and what I believe as a scientist and as a feminist. Like, I didn't just want to be a celebrity with a face on a science book, but I have a website called Grack Nation, and I had written an article about the Big Bang Theory episode where Amy and Sheldon have coitus for the first time. Yeah. And
yes.
In this article that I wrote, I talked about what it was like to play that kind of very intimate scene publicly as someone who's a late bloomer and plays a late bloomer on television. And Jill Santopolo from Penguin actually reached out to me, and she said, you talked a lot about like modesty and boundaries around sexuality, and she said, we don't really hear, especially celebrities, talk like that. And she said, would you be interested in writing a book that kind of talked to girls from this sort of perspective? Because I wasn't coming from a religious place or a political place. And I said, well, I would love to do that, but what if we made it kind of a general encyclopedia of being female from a scientific perspective, from the perspective of me as a female who never really fit in as a girl, doesn't really fit in as a woman a lot of the time. And that really was kind of how the book came about. So a scientific perspective, also kind of a sociological perspective, like what do we do in our culture versus what do other cultures do, with a special emphasis on things that in the 21st century we need in books, whether we like it or not. Things about mental health and eating disorders, in addition to kind of the basics about like your chromosomes and puberty and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, it really runs the gamut. And through it all, we learn a little bit about you, right?
Yes, we do.
Yes. Was that a comfortable place for you to put your, right?
No, I mean, sharing part of yourself, as we do, as sort of, performers or writers or, artists in general, that's a vulnerable place. And I've sort of, it sounds so contrived to say that I've, created a brand that is so authentic, because that sounds inauthentic, but it really is that I'm just a very, I'm an authentic person. I don't have another way to be. So that's sort of what I have put into everything that I've done, whether it's my website or even, acting and writing. And my feeling also is, I don't share every single intimate detail of my life. It's not that kind of book. My sex life hasn't been that interesting that I need to really talk about it like that. No, but I think when I try and imagine what might be helpful to a young audience, also to understand from a chemical perspective and a hormonal perspective, what is love? What is attraction? Why do we find some things attractive and other people don't agree? There's actually scientific answers for that I think is important in an age-appropriate way to educate girls and boys about.